As always, when we start a meeting, this being the November 20th, 2018 business meeting of the Macomb Park District Board of Commissioners, we need approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second it?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda stands approved. Consideration of and action on the minutes. And we have two sets of minutes. And in the interest of time, one vote on both of them, if you don't mind. The first set of minutes is from the November 7th, 2018 special meeting. And the second set is of our regular board meeting for October on the 16th. The November 7th was the meeting on the annual review of the executive director. Are there any corrections, additions, comments?
To remember to add the second S to my last name on the special meeting.
That, you wrote those,
I
don't look
did,
at me.
didn't I?
That's okay.
We will have
Two
it.
different
we
people
will have
writing
it
the
arranged.
minutes, so.
Yeah, well,
That's okay.
that was the German spelling coming out. I
Yes,
apologize.
no worries.
We'll take that as an editorial correction.
Yes.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes of November 7th and October 16th?
I'd like to move so.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes stand approved. Bills and transfers, monthly financial statements. Commissioner Ham.
Okay. Again, I'd like to thank Chris Frankhauser for assisting me in these monthly notes about a summary of our accounts. The consolidated fund, we ended the month $10,536 below the budget. The expenses for the month ran $10,411 below the budget, and the revenues for the month ended $126 above. So year-to-date overall, we're still setting pretty good at $102,036 better than our budget. That's the consolidated fund. For the general fund, the revenues for the month ended $8,441 below our budget. The expenses for the month ran $3,464 above the budget. So overall, the end of the month, we ran $11,905 below the budget projections. For year-to-date overall, we are $25,965 below the budget expectations. Some of this shortfall for the general fund, talking to Chris about, some of it is the revenue side is due for paying monies from the foundation, that money raised for the Push for Parks fundraisers. That money was shown as revenue, and the donations and fundraising areas. And then there was a checks that were for transferal reasons were moved over there for the revenues for the month showed less, but for the year-to-date numbers. So that was about $8,500 that was moved over. The corporate account, October, we ended revenues for the year. I'll probably just give year-to-dates now. We're setting $28,512 below the budget projections. For the recreation year-to-date, overall, we are at $36,418 below budget. For the Lakeview account, for year-to-date, we're currently setting $2,014 above budget expectations. Ball 4, which is not much activity going out there anymore, but for the year, overall, we're setting $17,324 below the budget. Special rec overall, for the year-to-date, we're setting $4,667 better than our expectations. Finally, last two categories I'd like to comment on are police and payroll. The expenses for the month ended $53 below budget. Year-to-date, however, for the police, we're still $7,092 better than our budget projections. For payroll, we ended the month $458 below budget. Year-to-date, that's where we're a little high at $21,360 more than what the budget predictions were. Lastly, I want to make sure I inform everyone, Rachel already knows this, but we received our final tax distribution on November 9th for $132,491. And then the 2017 bond was paid off today, and a new bond proceeds should be received by early December, and that's one of the things that we're going to discuss later in the meeting. Other than that, that's, I have more to say later, but that'll be it for the monthly report of transfers.
Thank you as always. Questions?
No.
Had none here, so a motion to approve the bills and transfers and monthly financial statements.
I move to approve.
I will second. That will be a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hemingway,
Aye.
Commissioner Ham,
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss.
Aye.
The bills and transfers and monthly financial statements stand approved as published. I believe we have a public presentation. The president's report was just given, the director's report.
I will keep mine very brief. Just so everybody's aware, this weekend was the annual Vibe charity auction, and they did a phenomenal job, as always. But the Park District will be receiving a check for $27,777 to go towards the lighting project. So we thank the Vibe Committee and the Macomb community for showing up and putting together such an amazing event. Flags of Love, they also received a substantial amount of money. They received over $30,000. I don't remember the exact amount. At the end of the event, they did a paddle raise for people to buy memorial bricks. So that's the reason there's a differential. But and then Master Gardeners, they received a check, or they will be receiving a check for a little over $6,000. So overall, I think it was over $60,000 raised for local charities. So congrats to Vibe and congrats to us as well. And then we had been talking about applying for a tree grant with the city of Macomb. We did get word back. We received the full amount of the grant for $15,000 with the city. So the Park District did our first planting on Wednesday. So there are now 20 new trees in Veterans Park lining the entryway right next to the soccer parking and then the adjacent baseball parking. There will be an additional 30 trees planted in the spring. We had members of the Rotary Clubs of Macomb, Downtown Development, and Macomb Beautiful Association, as well as Skip and Scott from the city show up and help plant. So we really appreciate everybody showing up and volunteering their time. I'm sure there's more to be said, but I will save it for December.
All right, thank
Those
you.
were the important pieces.
I want to echo what the director said about the Vibe affair. That's a special thing in the community, and some awful good people there. And it was a good event and obviously a successful one. And thanks to them.
Yeah.
Thanks to the city on the trees. Then we move to the, we got an ordinance number on this.
This is the agreement. That is a fantastic question. It's 329, I believe,
Okay,
but I will triple check that when I get back to the office.
all right, we can, if necessary, editorially correct that. So we're going to go with ordinance number 329. This is our annual general obligation bond issue. This is the bond issue that funds the operations of the parks by and large. So it is annuals for people out there. It is simply replacing the bond that will expire at the end of the year. And the total is $610,000. Which is probably a little bit better than we were doing last year, given some of the growth and changes and things. So by law, I need to read the full preamble into the record. And what I will be requesting is a motion to approve ordinance 329, which will be an ordinance providing for the issue of general obligation limited park bonds, series 2018 of the district for park purposes, for the payment of certain outstanding obligations of the district, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve ordinance 329.
Is there a second?
Second.
A roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ham,
Aye.
Commissioner Weiss,
Aye.
Commissioner Hemingway.
Aye. Thank you. Particularly that little bit of business there makes my madcap drive up here worthwhile. So, we have item number 8, which is discussion and action on naming an official delegate for the IAPD business meeting. As a refresher, we are members of the district is a member of the Illinois Association of Park Districts. The annual IAPD business meeting takes place at the Saturday of the annual business meeting, the convention up in Chicago, usually the last weekend in January, and for us to vote on any business that comes before that business meeting, we must appoint by this business meeting our official delegate. That delegate will, I feel like I should open the curtain here and say, win a beautiful all-expense-paid trip to Chicago in the middle of the winter. What better time to visit?
Really making it appealing.
I'm doing my best.
You weren't here to prior, so you didn't hear the discussion beforehand, but
I'm glad I didn't by the looks on people's faces, yes.
I would,
Yeah, yeah.
I would nominate myself to be able to go to that
All right,
as a representative of the board.
is
Going
that,
to be available.
is that okay by you?
Yes, absolutely.
Then, by consent, shall we do it that way?
Sure.
Holding Russ down in the corner, by consent, we will name Commissioner Ham. And I can chat with you later, or you can double check the program. I think the meeting usually is at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon, when by and large, most of the sessions are over. So, if you,
You have the paperwork right there in your binder.
I have it here,
That IAPD thing,
this right here.
that one. That's the
This is the one,
delegate.
this is the one you want?
That's the form. So we will get that filled out, and then I'll work through the details with you on.
Okay.
And thank you, Russ. And you're up next on item number 9, which is an overview of our financial reports, sort of to begin to explain, I think, what and how things are set up.
Well, I'm going to follow up a little bit on our ordinance that we just passed for funding that's provided into the Park District. It goes into the consolidated fund. Basically, we have two funds, consolidated fund and the general fund. The consolidated fund, this is the account that the proceeds from the annual bond issuance goes into. And out of this account, the payments for any long-term debt, past debt certificates from 2009, 2015 are made. This account is one where new equipment purchase, park improvements, capital leases like the copy rental, and projects related to the payroll are paid from. Within this fund, there is capital projects, bond retirements, and savings. The bond retirement fund is where the taxes collected to pay off the previous year's bond are held until that is paid. So that's kind of what we're going through with this meeting and the December, January 1st meeting and stuff. So I always report on that on my bills and transfer first, and then I move to the general fund, and I think that's another one that people need to understand why it's important, because I do have a lot of details, and this is my visual that we go through every month. We go through the detail of the accounts. I have a chance to review that. If I have questions, I do talk to the business manager, Chris Frankhauser, about any long variances and stuff. And the general account, people can think of that as an account that is used for the day-to-day operations for the district. From that account, things like the utility bills, office supplies, phone bills, and material and supplies are paid from. There are 11 separate accounts that are listed in our ledgers here that we go through that make up the general fund. They are the corporate, unemployment, liabilities, workers' comp, audit, Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, Social Security, police, paving and lighting, the rec general fund, and special recreation. And this is the fund that the non-project payrolls, that the non-project payrolls come out of. Program registrations, shelter rentals, and money to play miniature golf, and use of the driving ranges are some examples of the revenues for this fund. Again, each month, with the help of Chris Frankhauser, he does a real good job of outlining what's going on with each of these accounts so that I can report the variances for the month on revenue and expenses and year to date. I also, any tax distributions that are received, I will also report on those. And if there's any major variances or shortfalls, I oftentimes notate them at the bottom of my report. But I just wanted to give a general, something on the record of what some of this information does that we look at each month to kind of give the folks and people on the board an opportunity. I think some of you have gone through these detailed AP ledgers before and looked at them. They can be kind of, there's a lot of duplication of the payments out there, but they hit different accounts is what they do, and that's why they have to detail them out so much on the reports, the monthly reports. So instead of giving you a report like this each month, I give you a report like this each month. Okay?
And that's appreciated.
So I am trying to keep an eye on it, and it's been good to work with these, Chris, on getting this information to the other board members. And
I think one of the things we need to point out to people too is that when we talk about different funds, money cannot be moved freely out of some of those funds. so that if you were to look at the ledger, you might see a fund, say with, well, for example, when we were saving money to pay for the second phase of Veterans Park, at one point, there's $1 million in there, and people are saying, well, why do you need, I mean, you've got $1 million, why do you need money for other? It's because that money is untouchable by its classification. It's a thing called fund accounting, and I should, looking at a couple of people out in the audience who've heard more than they ever wanted to hear about fund accounting in a previous life. But I think the way you organize that is good. It's helpful. Are there any questions to follow up on that?
Russ is doing a fabulous job.
Very helpful.
He likes his
Planning
position
to-
as the treasurer here on the board, relative to other positions. But that's another story.
Yes. If there are no questions, that is not an action item, it's an information item. We come to item 10, which is the open commissioner presentation and discussion of future agenda items. Do either of you gentlemen have anything you wish to raise, add, suggest?
Happy Thanksgiving.
It is the start of the holiday season, yes.
And we still are looking for a commissioner to serve on the board.
That is correct. It is important to point out that any appointment that we would make now, that individual would have to scramble to, were he or she wanting to run. I believe,
December 10th through the 17th
yeah,
is the
the
filing period.
10th through the 17th of December is the filing period. So that would still be possible. And if that were done, that would be for the full 4-year term. If we wait to make an appointment to that, that appointment would be for a 2-year term. As once the filing period closes, any appointment would, obviously the person couldn't run, therefore it would be for a 2-year term. I have been told that there is somebody who intends to, who's not a sitting commissioner, who intends to run. We'll have to wait till the 10th through the 17th to find that out.
Okay.
Go from there. And then I will close once again with my abject apology for my delay in getting here.
Well, thanks for making the trip
Yeah.
Yeah,
safely.
We appreciate it.
No,
Cross our
it's what we do. I got involved in something. Okay, I'm just sorry. Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We stand adjourned, and we will see what adventure befalls us in December.